This dude is freaking insane with log bait, so be sure to watch the entire video. Hey guys, this is JinJin here, and today we are with HamSlayer from a clan called, well, Strip Club. Very lovely name for a clan, if you ask me. And we are just right into a match with Mr. HamSlayer. This dude is freaking insane with log bait. Now, I know that we've already done a log bait video before, but I just wanted to show this guy too because this dude knows what's up when it comes to log bait. Currently, right now, he is at 5,800 trophies, almost 5,900 trophies, meaning he's almost in Champion League as of right now, which is just insane, ladies and gentlemen. I think this dude has reached top 10,000 before. Let me go check if he has. I don't think he has quite reached top 10,000, but he has gone all the way up to, I think, like League like 7 or 8. I think he's went up to League 7. Yeah, I think it's League 8 that he's been up to. So this dude knows how to play log bait. I think he said he's been playing it for over like a couple years now or something like that. So anyways, like I said, this dude is freaking insane with log bait. He plays a version with Tesla and Knight, as you guys can see. So he kind of plays a little bit cheaper version of log bait, which is interesting. It kind of allows for more cycling, if you will. But anyways, we're in this match right now, and it looks like he's winning pretty easily against this bowler right here. Kind of this whack bowler Valkyrie balloon deck. I don't really know what's up with this deck right here, but it looks like that. Yeah, we're not gonna have a very tough time winning against this person at all. And yeah, he knows what's up. Like rocketing balloon is kind of the thing that you want to do when you use log bait, as this guy has demonstrated to you. Because the thing is that it's just such a nice counter to the balloon, and if you could get anything else in there with the balloon, like for instance, you rocket some health points from a lava hound, and you also rocket the balloon. That's positive elixir trade right there. And he just rocketed the tower for a win. So we're already off to a really, really good start. We're gonna go straight into another match. So, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, like he knows what is up. And if you're ever playing against log bait and you don't really have any other good counters for Goblin Barrel aside from Fireball, don't be afraid to get that negative elixir trade, because believe me when I say this, Goblin Barrel is what you're gonna get, or I guess the opponent or whoever's playing log bait is gonna get 99% of the damage from. So if you need to rocket the fireball by all means. It'll be worth that one elixir that it costs you, or that one extra elixir, I should say, that it costs you. But he's just kind of catching the opponent off guard, as you can see. Like when the opponent is low on elixir, he's making sure to throw it on the goblin barrels, because that's the best time. That'll throw the opponent off. Because that's the thing about chip damage decks. Kind of in the last video, we discussed a lot of what we didn't really go really in depth, but we kind of went a little bit in depth about what um, chip damage and beatdown kind of means. But with chip damage, the best time to throw your opponent off is when your opponent is really low on elixir. That's when you're gonna really devastate your opponent's towers. And even catching off your opponent when your opponent's, thinks that thinks he has the upper hand, and then just kind of throwing him off just when he has just that slight bit less elixir lead is when you can really devastate your opponent with this deck. Anyways, as of right now, it seems like that we're tied. Um, in kind of towers and everything. He's doing really well against Lava Hound. One thing that Hamslayer said is that against Lava Hounds, you want to play a lot of high Teslas, which kind of makes sense because when you play high Teslas, it kind of, it makes sure that the balloon stays away from the towers and everything like that. And again, it doesn't look like that he really does it over here. Oh, never mind. but rocketing that balloon, and as you can see, he definitely got a positive elixir trade because he rocketed those minions along with the balloon for a plus, I think, 2 positive elixir trade right there, which is pretty good if you ask me. And we're kind of up against this, like, kind of lava hound inferno dragon deck, and it looks like that. Oh, we lost the second match, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, we're not winning this at all. HamSlayer, come on, man. We have to lose the second match, but that's all right though. We're gonna go straight into another match up. I timed that horribly, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. Now we're gonna in another match. Um, and let's see what he has. Okay, so see, like it doesn't hurt to fireball if you don't really have anything else, because it will definitely make sure that no damage is done to the tower. Now, I'm not saying that with log bait, Goblin Barrel is the only way to fireball. Oh, that's interesting. Mortar is kind of mortar, huh? By the way, comments below, thoughts on the mortar. And while we're at it, feel free to subscribe. It's absolutely free to subscribe. It helps me out a lot. And if you like these kinds of videos, I am trying to come out with videos on a daily basis. I've been a little bit worse about it lately just because there's been, life stuff happening. But I'm gonna try to get back on doing it on a daily basis so I can push out as much quality content for you guys as possible. And I'm figuring out kind of a face recorder, um, so I can kind of get my face in these videos too, because I know you guys definitely want to see my ugly face. So I'm kind of working towards that as well. And by the way, feel free to comment below, um, kind of like, what kind of videos you want to see. Do you like when I feature other people? Do you like when I kind of show you myself what kind of decks I like using? Just comment below. And what HamSlayer said, which was actually a pretty good point, is if you're playing Logbait against Mortar, the best way to counter the Mortar, ladies and gentlemen, is to play Knight or Valkyrie or whatever kind of your tanky card is on the opposite lane of the Mortar. That'll get the Mortar distracted on them. And then when you play Tesla or Inferno Tower or whatever your building is onto that Mortar won't take that Tesla, or sorry, that Mortar won't take that building or whatever down. And it will, um, because it's distracted on the Knight and everything, and that will definitely take down that building without getting any damage onto the towers. And as you can see, Mr. HamSlayer over here is doing a really good job making sure he's countering that mortar, minimizing the amount of damage that mortar does onto the towers, which is just devastating for our fellow opponent here because, um, you know, that's what he's really reliant on. Mortar is kind of the main win condition for mortar decks. I mean, that's why you call it mortar, is because, Mortar is the main win condition. But anyways, we're going in with the Goblin Barrel Ice Spirit right there. Really good job with that, by the way. Um, but yeah, I might consider playing Mortar because Mortar is pretty good. It's really underrated in the meta right now, you know? Mortars is kind of one of those kinds of decks it's always just been good, it's always been decent. As you can see, he's kind of throwing another knight right there just to really distract that mortar, and he's throwing down the goblin barrel. Fortunately, when our fellow opponent did have enough elixir to counter it, but again, those negative elixir trades are going to add up over time. Now, he just cycled to another Goblin Barrel again, which is insane. That snowball did not quite stop it, so we did get some Goblin hits onto the tower right there. And that knight is just distracting that mortar, which is kind of sort of devastating. He did play the Rascals against that Tesla, so Mr. HamSlayer's got to find another way to counter that mortar. But what a better way to do it than a split Goblin Gang right there, kind of a good alternative to that knight. And then he played another knight, making sure that that mortar does not get onto the tower at all. And it looks like that this might actually be GG. No, maybe not quite GG, but we're pretty close to that though. Our opponent is having a pretty tough time, you know, against Mr. HamSlayer right here. And here's the thing about Mortar. I feel like Mortar is either really easily countered or quite the opposite, I've never seen like, a good Mortar matchup. I've either been crushed by Mortar or I've crushed Mortar, if that makes any sense whatsoever. But anyways, we're coming out with a rocket for the win. Good job, Mr. HamSlayer. We're just gonna kind of throw down our favorite emote of all time, and we're into another matchup. So it looks like we might have some weird kind of 2019 form of log bait right here, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, let's see what. Oh my goodness gracious, guys. We have another log bait. Log bait versus log bait, ladies and gentlemen. That is crazy, my dudes. That is freaking insane. Um I mean, not same exact decks, but same idea, just get those goblins. They get that goblin barrel onto the tower. Thoughts on the new like skeleton barrel deck in the comments below. Thoughts on the new skeleton barrel deck? That new skeleton barrel goblin barrel deck, because that's actually really clever. Having goblin barrel and skeleton barrel for log bait, like which one do you log, or barbarian barrel or whatever counters it the best, and I don't know, guys. I like this version of log bait with rascals, and that's interesting the way he used the knight against that prince right there. I wouldn't have thought to do it like that. And we have yet to know what his main building is going to be. He might actually have a building. Our opponent might just have a rocket in a log or fireball in the log or something like that. So we might not have a building. But if he has fireball or the log, this might be a relatively difficult match up. Now that goblin, uh, excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry. That Dark Goblins kind of took out that princess, and we have a knight and a tricky barrel, it looks like. But unfortunately, our opponent did not fall for that at all. Um, we got a goblin barrel right there, and an ice spirit for that, kind of a tricky goblin, but not too tricky for our opponent. And we're gonna go ahead and log that right there. Um, that's interesting. Logging the rascals like that? I wouldn't think to do that, but HamSlayer's a pro here, not me. I'm not judging you, Mr. HamSlayer. Okay, so the log, that's gonna be a little bit tricky, but again, doesn't seem like it'll be too tricky for Mr. HamSlayer here. We got another log set down, and we still have yet to know what the last card is going to be. Now, obviously, for HamSlayer, it's the Rocket, and it's probably going to be either Rocket or Fireball. That's my prediction. Um, that's my personal prediction. I've seen this clip before, but I still don't quite remember what it is, so I'm not sure. But I'm pretty sure it's going to be one of those two. It looks like HamSlayer is just going to kind of chill in Rocket Cycle, all that right there. And look at that value from that log right there. That was some really good value. By the way, guys, if you have, don't set a loggable card with Goblin Barrel. That's just asking to be logged right there. Like for instance, if you're playing log bait and you have Princess on the King's Tower, don't quote me on this, but don't, set the Princess and the Goblin Barrel in the same lane if you know your opponent has logging cycle. Just don't, ladies and gentlemen, just don't. So it looks like we got two rockets. I was right. We have two rockets up in here, and oh my goodness, we're gonna get a Prince Charge and a Goblin Barrel, and it looks like we lost. Bummer! Come on, HamSlayer, I know you're better than this. We're in another match. So we have a Goblin Barrel, and it looks like Valkyrie just kind of that like it was nothing, and it looks like we have some kind of a funky Valkyrie Dark Prince deck. That's interesting, ladies and gentlemen. Not a whole lot of decks with Valkyrie and Dark Prince. Um, yeah, no, not at all. But anyways, okay, Inferno Dragon and Baby Dragon. That's interesting. I wonder what the main win condition for this deck is to be. Like, I legitimately don't know what it's going to be. Um, but yeah, okay, so it looks like we have Balloon. Is there maybe gonna be a Lava Hound? Is this gonna be a funky Lava Hounds deck? It might be because of those arrows. Some maybe Fireball and Lava Hound? I don't know, ladies and gentlemen. This is an interesting deck. Very interesting deck, choice. Okay, so it looks like we have Lightning. I'm definitely predicting Lava Hounds. It's some kind of funky version of the old-fashioned Lava Loon deck. You guys know what I'm talking about when I say old-fashioned Lava Loon, right? It's got like Lava Hound, Balloon, Tombstone. I believe it's got Lightning and Arrows. I don't really remember what the last cards are. Feel free to tell me in the comments below what the last cards in that deck are. But yeah, guys, it's kind of some funky version of Lava Loon. But don't quote me on that though. I don't know if the last card is gonna be Lava Hound, but it looks like we're doing actually pretty well against this deck right here. And yeah, we're just doing pretty well. Not a whole lot else to say. Um, by the way, guys, how are you doing this season in Clash Royale? How are you doing? I hear that this season is actually a really healthy meta, which is good. Not, nothing too oppressing. I hear Elixir Golem is kind of cooled down, um, in terms of its oppression. So, how is this season going for you guys? What league are you guys in? Are you guys doing better this season than you have been in previous seasons? Just, I'm curious to know. Um, by far my best season was that one season where they decided to inflate the trophies, just give us a quarter of the trophies because or sorry, take only a quarter of the trophies. I got to Champion League that season. That was by far my best season. I've only made it to League 6 before that. But anyways, we just completely wrecked that opponent. I don't know what the last card in that deck was. I think it's Lava. I don't know though. Don't quote me on that. Anyways, we're right into another match. Princess in the back, Valkyrie in the back. Could this be the same deck? That'd be crazy if it was. We got Knight and Goblin Gang against a Bomber. That's kind of a rough startup. Except those Spirit Goblins did some chip damage. It looks like we have some very similar decks right here, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my goodness. Graveyard. Now, I'm saying this ahead of time. But what Mr. HamSlayer said is the best way to counter Graveyard when you're using Log Bait is, I believe it's Knight in the back, or sorry, Knight during single elixir and Goblin Gang during double elixir. Don't quote me on that. Let me check real quick, but I'm pretty sure that's the way that you have to do it. Yeah, so it's during single elixir, you want to block the tank with a knight and defend graveyard with Goblin Gang, if that makes sense. So, for example, they're playing Giant Graveyard, use the knight against the giant and the Goblin Gang against the graveyard, and other way around during double elixir time. And this makes sense because, you know, because, um, during single elixir, they're not necessarily, if they throw down giant and graveyard, they're not necessarily going to have the elixir for the poison immediately, thus allowing the Goblin Gang to sufficiently counter that. During double elixir, they will have the poison, but, they're going to play it maybe with the graveyard. They won't be able to read that Goblin Gang as easily. That Goblin Gang will take out that giant and then maybe be able to go back to that graveyard right there. And, in single elixir, that you got to make sure that you get as little damage as possible, so you defend with that Goblin Gang before the Goblin Gang gets poisoned. So that makes sense, ladies and gentlemen. That actually makes perfect sense. I don't know if that's the right logic. That's just kind of the way I'm looking at it. Correct me if I'm wrong, Hamslayer, but I'm pretty sure that's the way you go. This is an interesting deck, to say the least. P.E.K.K.A, Electro Dragon Graveyard. Balloon. I don't even know what to call this deck. And as you can see, he did that Goblin Gang in the back while defending against that P.E.K.K.A during I guess it's single elixir time, or double elixir time. But that's kind of the way he recommended it, though. HamSlayer recommended it, which it's mind blowing to think about, but it makes sense though. Like it's like, how did I not think of that? It looks like he's having a hard time with those Goblin Gangs though because of that tornado. Um, but yeah. Uh, Yeah, we have that log right there. And as you can see, he's making sure to bring that balloon up with that Tesla. Making sure that the Tesla... making sure that, sorry, not the Tesla, the balloon doesn't get any damage onto that tower. And, yeah, it looks like we might go in with a win for the rocket. Be sure to like and subscribe if you like this video, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you guys so much. I love you guys so much, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye. I guess. I don't know. I'm weird.